On a bit of a drive today, so I thought I'd do some recording. It ever strike you funny that the way that clients select attorneys is based almost entirely on how they present themselves, that is, on their marketing material? So it may be that you've had cause to wonder why it is that a particular client with a high-profile case, or if you're doing personal injury, why somebody who has injuries that were obviously caused by the defendant, the injuries are grave, why they chose to go with another firm when that other lawyer may not be as skilled as you are. And the answer is because self-presentation of that other attorney and the marketing materials they have are superior. You know, I once knew a lawyer. I brought up this very well-known attorney. I won't name the state. And this lawyer friend of mine says, "Oh, you know, I don't really care for that guy. You know, he steals all my friends' cases." I hate to break it to you, but unless that guy is approaching the clients after they retain you, he is not stealing your cases. You just suck at keeping them. His marketing is better, his reputation is better, whatever it is, that's why the clients are abandoning you. You really have no one else to blame other than your own marketing materials, other than your own way of self-presenting. And I can't be the only dude who is, or gal for that matter, who's sitting there, in high school, or in my case, in elementary school or junior high, reading Jerry Spence books, or reading Alan Dershowitz books, or reading Roy Black's book, or reading The Man to See about Edward Bennett Williams, or reading any number of other books, Louis Neiser, for instance. Any one of these individuals has written books, and why do they do that? And I want you to notice something too. Where do they publish these? Do they publish them in trial guides? I mean, granted, I respect trial guides a lot, but trial guides wasn't around back then. They don't, because attorneys who want to be well known, and by the way, attorneys who are well known and who have coverage in the news are the ones that get the cases. Hate to break it to you. They don't publish books for other lawyers to read. They publish books in mass market presses. I'm talking Penguin. I'm talking Simon & Schuster. I'm talking Doubleday. I'm talking any division of Random House, any division of Harper's. I'm even excluding here Wiley. If you don't know who these names are and you're a lawyer, you better get researching, because if you can get a book in one of these presses, and by the way, I know how much it costs to do that. It costs around $150,000 to have your book edited or professionally ghostwritten, given back to you, and pitched to a publisher with guaranteed publication in one of these presses. You can buy this. This is for sale. It is not a reflection of merit. But those people that take advantage of it, Spence, Dershowitz, etc., they're the ones that benefit, and they get the cases. Okay? Now, let's take a gander over at Nicholas Rowley or Lisa Blue or any of these really fantastic plaintiff side attorneys. Really, their reputation precedes them. And I don't have anything bad to say about them, because I believe at this point in their careers they don't really need to advertise a ton. I know Nicholas Rowley says that he takes great pride in not needing to advertise. But what I would say is that when they publish in trial guides, or when they are in anything affiliated with Trial Lawyers University, they're giving value to other lawyers, which is important, and they have great value to give. And in fact, I've read their books, I've learned a lot from them, but their own reputations are not benefiting that much as they could if they published in a mass market press. Now, what about university presses? I happen to know a legal writing expert by the name of Ross Guberman. And Ross, if you're listening to this, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. He has published his excellent legal writing book called Point Made in Oxford University Press. Now, I'm not going to ask Ross how he got it in there. If you're going to ask me, I'd say it's a combination of the quality and value that he has to provide the readers of those university presses. But I would have to probably guess that Ross has an agent. And why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't he have an agent or a publicist? When I interviewed David Boies, You want to know what his assistant Jacqueline told me? His assistant, uh, I had offered Mr. Boyes if he wanted to appear on the podcast of a friend of mine, because I think that it's important for plaintiff side trial lawyers and criminal defense lawyers who represent predominantly individuals rather than corporations to learn from Mr. Boyes and what he has to teach. And she mentioned that Mr. Boyes has a publicist. Why shouldn't Boyes have a publicist? Why shouldn't you? Okay, they're not that expensive. They cost less per month than a month's rent for a good office in the Chicago Loop. Okay, you have to eat some costs because they pay. Sometimes you do have to spend money to make money. And there are some other lawyers I know who might be listening to this right now, and I'm gonna put money on the fact that those who are making a ton of media appearances, they probably have publicists that are going to hook them up with those. And if they don't, and they manage to get them based solely the old-fashioned way on reputation and quality of work alone, which, by the way, today is no longer enough because you will be outplayed by savvy business people. If they're truly doing that, they could be benefiting a lot better with the work of a publicist. So why am I talking about this? This doesn't seem like it has very much to do with the practice of law. That's the point. I cannot stand lawyers who tell me this has nothing to do with the practice of law. And I like to tell them, well, what kind of clients do you want walking in the door? Okay? I mean, I know you screen, the good business people screen a lot of those out, send them out at referrals, and pitch those referrals out at 30%. Okay? Which is fine. That is the practice of the law. But to totally overlook a way to make yourself a thought leader in today's world, when these markets, criminal defense, plaintiff side personal injury, are super, super competitive, to overlook that, frankly, it's arrogance. Or it's this idea that you're just super old-fashioned, and the quality of your work and your reputation alone is what's going to bring clients through the door. That's not enough anymore, if it ever was. If you're a good attorney and you're already getting great clients, I mean, I can think of one firm in Chicago, a great criminal defense firm, everybody knows their name, and I'm not going to name them here, but their partners have not published any books. And you're thinking, well, if they don't have to do it, neither do I. Well, frankly, that's a stupid way to think about it, because my bet is that if you defend enough high-profile cases, you get your name in the media enough, and you get that local recognition, and on top of it, you publish a mass market paperback, right, or hardcover for that matter, and it gets sold in Barnes & Noble. And by the way, that can be arranged with the publisher for the 150 I just talked about. And you link on your website, not a link to the Amazon, right, because anybody can put their book on Amazon. You've all seen a bunch of books with like 5 reviews, 5-star reviews. You're not going to buy that book. If you link the Barnes & Noble link to buy your book on the website, you get 2 points. You get points for whatever the reviews are on that book, name association with whoever wrote your foreword, and on top of that, you're going to get the political and cultural capital that Barnes & Noble has to give by linking that on your website. A lot of small things done right. And I want to do a shout out here to Jason Hennessy. This dude is savvy. This guy, he does SEO work for Hennessy Digital. He's the head of Hennessy Digital. It's in the name. And what this dude goes and does, he wants to rank organically for search terms like law firm SEO, right? So SEO, search engine optimization for law firms. Where are you on the search result when someone in your area searches criminal defense attorney, right? If you're number 1, you're going to be the first link everybody clicks on, right? Well, what does Jason Hennessy do? The guy writes a book titled Law Firm SEO. Google that. And what do you think comes up right away? A book by Jason Hennessy. And what does it say in Hennessy's bio? That he runs Hennessy Digital. What a masterstroke. What a move. I mean, this stuff is what gets me going. The attention to the smallest details, sharpening the razor even finer and finer and finer. I'm not talking about gilding a lily here. I'm talking about a lot of small things done right. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that motivates me. when I'm looking at starting my own firm way down the road. Because eventually, for any attorney who wants to be very good, I really do believe you have to go out on your own after a while. After you learn from somebody who is very good, you have to go out on your own. Mark Lanier did it. Dick DeGuerin did it with Percy Foreman. Mark Lanier with a guy by the name of Ernest Cannon. These individuals went out on their own because they wanted to see if they could do it. And now you've got the Lanier firm, you've got, I believe it's still DeGuerin and DeGuerin, and you've got, I mean, even Michael Ramsey, even Jack Zimmerman stepped out from under Haynes. Dan Cogdell ran, he calls it Dan's Law Firm and Muffle Repair Shop. A shout out to Dan, who is a great guy. One of my favorite, probably my favorite interview guests next to Marvin Elkind, and that's not to offend anybody else. It's just I happen to feel a real communion with Dan. I sense that we grew up in similar environments. Our personalities are probably quite similar as well. But it really inspires me to, I'm inspired by cleverness. I like cleverness. When people use clever marketing tactics, business tactics, trial tactics, I want in on it. I want to talk about it. I want to read about it. I want to learn about it. So if you're listening to this and you're a fellow traveler and you want to outcompete people, maybe even people you think are actually better than you on paper, I'm telling you it's possible. I'm not asking you whether it is possible. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you it is possible. If you're looking on the TV and there's a high-profile case and it's some guy you've never heard of or isn't very good, I'm going to guarantee you something right now. It's that lawyer's marketing or it's that lawyer's self-presentation within that community of legal consumers that caused him or her to obtain that case.